another exciting episode of the Comic Anthologist. And to show your support, please click the subscribe button and also click the bell just to let us know that you enjoyed what you watched. In any case, we are going to talk about the person who's about to, well, the character who's about to make his debut on the big silver screen for the first time in history.
On December 21st.
And is being played by the actor Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
By the name of Aquaman. Now, Aquaman is actually name is Arthur Curry, and he made his debut in More Fun Comics number 19. Oh, I take that back. More Fun Comics number 73, November 1941. And that's where he was established as an ancillary character.
Right.
But he was always been portrayed as like the biggest joke in the DC universe.
Right, especially, yeah, because the biggest joke parts started to come up, like during the times when they came out with the Super Friends. Now, see, my biggest beef with the Super Friends...
let me interject. Before we even go to the Super Friends,
right.
They had the Superman Aquaman Adventure Hour that took place, that came out in 1967.
But see, the whole thing I did not like about that is, I guess because I know we grew up old school,
yeah,
but the old cartoons back in the day, they never laid hands on the villains.
No, not only that, too. I mean, Aquaman's character was given this wholesome, weak, feeble appearance in terms of his powers.
Right.
And being able to talk to the fish or whatnot. He was always considered like a second-rate joke, especially when he became one of the founding members of the Justice League, or rather back in the 70s.
I mean, they even spoofed him on Robot Chicken.
Yes,
Yeah. And then I've seen other actors or people dressed like him or whatever, and film themselves lampooning Aquaman.
Well, I mean, look at it this way too. With Aquaman, he even also had his own series that was about to come out during the time of Smallville.
Right.
But the pilot never took off. It never went anywhere. And it was one of those things where the guy who was originally supposed to play Aquaman is now playing Hawk in the Titan series. But also at the same time, they had the character that played Green Arrow in Smallville. He was originally supposed to play Aquaman as well during that tenure as well, but it just didn't turn out. It just,
well, see, the
he
whole
was
thing
treated like a second-rate character.
Well, see, this is why he was treated like a whole second-rate character. And let me interject. Let me use my aqua telepathy to command the fish to doop 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 doop. And that's one of the reasons why
he got clowned
so much
badly. And this was during the 60s, and they never took him seriously.
Right.
And he's had several solo comic book series over the course of the last...
But they never really took hold. I mean, they would last for a little while, and then they would stop.
He's now on his 8th volume.
Right.
I mean,
now, the best volume when it started, though, I would have to say, just for me being a collector, it started with the New 52 back in 2011. That's when they started taking Aquaman a lot seriously, because then it introduced not only the trench that you'll see in the movie, you'll see Ocean Master, and of course his long-standing nemesis, Black Manta.
Right, and Black Manta's been around for a while as well in terms of just being a thorn in his side.
Right.
And it's just one of those things that now they're taking him seriously. Now he's got his own movie. But Jason Momoa, to me, by far, is the...
To me, he is Aquaman.
Yes.
Even though we haven't seen the movie yet. And I look forward to seeing it.
And we will review that film, by the way, once it comes out.
But to me, right now, at this point, after seeing him in the not-so-great Justice League movie...
Yeah.
I thought he was like one of the standouts in that film that just,
Well, they didn't give him enough credit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he didn't get enough pub.
I'm sorry. Jason portrayed him in such a way that he had heart, but he was also mysterious. But at the same time, they should have given him a little bit more meat to play with instead of cutting a lot of his stuff and ended up being on the cutting room floor.
Right.
As it's been rumored to be revealed about the Justice League movie, but we won't go there.
Yeah, we won't. Yeah, we're not going there.
In any case, this is all about Arthur Curry, who is the son of Thomas Curry
and Princess Atalanta.
Atalanta.
Or Queen Atalanta.
Queen Atalanta.
Okay.
Or whatnot.
Of Atlantis, so.
And that's when he discovers his origin. Now, Vulko is one of his mentors in the comic book, but he's also going to help mentor him as a teenager
in the film.
Right. And teach him about his powers and teach him about his heritage.
You're talking about the character played by Willem Dafoe?
Yes, the one that's played by Willem Dafoe. And he's going to basically break it down for him about his heritage and make sure that he knows where he's coming from, and also to take his rightful place in Atlantis.
Okay, so, excuse me, the past. Tell me a little bit more about the past, because I'm kind of like, even though I've been enjoying this current run, I really didn't read much of the past books.
I want to say about this. Aquaman's character was secondary, basically his story was told in secondary stories in other comic books, especially in more fun comics, up until issue 103. After issue 103, then that's when they took him, Superboy, and Green Arrow and decided to give them a little bit more credence in terms of their viability as superheroes in the DC universe.
Right.
But that was during that time where the Silver Age is when they started to redefine him again, when superhero comics started to pick up around that time. Now, when that happened, that's when Aquaman was given a little bit more credence. But by the 1960s is when that
cartoon series, The Super Friends.
And it kind of...
Even though I like the Super Friends from back in the day.
But it backfired.
Yeah.
It backfired in such a bad way that no one took him seriously.
And see, one of the things, too, with Aquaman as well, just found out was, in the beginning, he wasn't given having a half Atlantean
or half
mother,
human.
a half human heritage. He was just a man created or out of scientific experiments from back in the day.
And it was his father that was training him and taught him those ways on how to live and take oxygen out of the water to breathe underwater and become a human living underwater, thus becoming an Aquaman. And that's how originally he was supposed to be That's how originally he was presented. But then they decided to go ahead and introduce the Atlantean origin, since his father got a lot of those secrets from Atlantis himself, and taught those to his dad. Taught those to his son. And thus, that's why he was able to become the person that was able to not eventually learn how to speak to fish underwater, but only about 20 feet. He could talk to fish, but it was one of those things that it was just from his dad's scientific experiments, and also learning some of the secrets from Atlantis that he was gleaning all that information from, which he taught his son to become an Aquaman.
Well, one of the things I'm also reading the current storyline. I haven't read the conclusion of it yet, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. The Drowned Earth storyline. That's the Aquaman crossing over with Justice League.
And the Drowned Earth storyline is basically introducing, back in the day, when we will get to this story, which was the Batman Metal series.
Right.
Where there was different variations of Batman, where there was a variation of Batman Flash, Batman Superman,
Batman Aquaman, and that one was a female version of Bruce Wayne. Bryce Wayne.
It was Bryce Wayne, and she basically used scientific experiments, just like we just discussed, from the 1940s when he was initially introduced. And experimented on herself in order to become an Aqua Woman, but it was, like I said, it was part of the dark universe.
We'll see. What came out of Dark Knight's Metal?
What was that?
Was that 3 cosmic sea gods came to Earth, or they were awakened, or they were brought to the attention of Earth, and they were brought there, and basically, what they did was, the reason why it was called this storyline is called the Drowned Earth storyline is because they flooded the Earth's ocean waters, but then the kind of water that they're doing, as they're flooding it, they're turning every human being that gets in contact with that water into aquatic sea life that they can control.
Oh.
And so the problem is, that's when we discover about Aquaman's powers to talk to fish. It goes deeper than that. It has to do with the force of life. And so I haven't read the conclusion of the storyline, but
it's still going on right now.
But then it gives the Drowned Earth storyline gives Aquaman the gravitas, I should say, to basically on how he could talk to sea life and where he got that power from. And so I haven't read the conclusion of it, but I've been enjoying it thusly so far. But getting back to the character himself, basically, I became a fan of the character during the New 52 back in 2011. That's when he introduced the Trench. That's when he introduced well, they reintroduced Ocean Master and
As his half brother.
as his half brother, and then of course they brought Black Manta into the mix as well.
And mind you, there is a Atlantis whole miniseries that was written by Peter David, which was issues 1 through 7, which explains everything from the ancient times of Atlantis to the modern times, right before Arthur Curry was born.
Now, see, also too, this new version of Aquaman that we're enjoying now still spanned from the New 52, but that was as a result of something created by another Justice League member, something called the Flashpoint, and that kind of rewrote everybody's back history for the modern times. And so then you have Aquaman now. This one that we're enjoying now is what we're seeing, and I have a feeling that they're incorporating those elements from what we see from that started off from the New 52 into the film, into this.
Of course
current
they are,
movie.
because the Trench is definitely a New 52 villain, or rather race of villains. And also, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw traces of one of my favorite stories, because I was going to ask you that next, The Throne of Atlantis.
Oh yeah, that's one of mine too as well. So you don't even have to ask that question.
That's definitely going to be incorporated into this film. So it's the Trench, The Throne of Atlantis, and I wouldn't be surprised if part of his personality is spawned from the Flashpoint series. Right, which is a 5-issue miniseries, but that one was where you had Atlantis at war with the Amazons,
Which basically caused World War III.
Yes, and by the time the story ended, well, it didn't end on a happy note. We'll leave it at that, but that's another story for another time.
Right.
In any case, next time on the Comic Anthologist, we will definitely try to incorporate and educate you with whatever we can possibly. But like I said, Aquaman is one of those characters that is now given his just due, despite him being clowned and being a second-rate character in the DC
Excuse me,
universe.
let me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Any case, if you have any questions, you feel free to send us any email at thecomicanthologist@gmail.com. And once again,
Hit that subscribe button.
and definitely take it easy.